In this tutorial, I'm going to take you through the steps of creating a digital assignment. Remember, when you use the rubric that you created, it needs to be attached to a digital tool in Blackboard. And digital tools include such things as the digital assignment. That's what I'll be showing you. Also included in that are blogs, wikis, discussion boards, journals. Any of those digital tools can be used, and you can attach a rubric to any of those tools. The benefit of using the digital tools is once you create the assignment, whether it's the assignment that I'll show you right now or a discussion board or blog or any of those collaborative tools, once you use those and attach a rubric to it, it creates a column in your grade center, and then you go into the gradebook for grading using the rubric. So let's go ahead and get started here. I created under course assignment, under a category over here called course assignments, I created a content area called HRM assignment. So I am just going to click this link, and all of this is a content area, and you probably recognize this. To do the digital assignment, I am going to go to assessment, and I'm going to select assignment from the digital assessment. Okay, I'm going to give this a name. And whatever name I type in here, this is what's going to show up as the grade center column. So just keep that in mind. Under instructions, I am just going to type in here for right now. Okay, I just put in here, insert instructions here. This is where students will get their instructions for the assignment. Okay, so any instructions you want to give your students, you can include right here in the text box. Down here, as you scroll down the page, assignment files, this is where you can go in. So if you have like a case study or a scenario that you have typed up that you want the students to open up and read prior to completing the assignment, you can attach those files right here. Going down under number 3 under grading, this is where we are going to add the rubric, and you will see that there's a points possible box here. I'm not going to put any points in here because we created the rubric and it's a 16-point rubric. When we add the rubric, it should automatically fill the points possible box with whatever the value of the rubric is. Again, in this sample, it's going to be 16. So from the Add Rubric button, I'm going to click Select Rubric, and it opens up the rubric window, and I am going to select the Reading Rubric 2. That's the rubric we created just a little bit earlier, and I am going to submit that. And a window opens up, and it says click OK to assign the rubric's maximum points as the points possible. I'm going to say OK here, and that drops 16 points in my points possible box. Let's take a look here. Now my rubric is attached, and you'll notice when it attached the rubric, or when the assignment now has the rubric attached, the rubric pops up its own little menu down here. So I'm just going to quickly go over what this menu is. If I wanted to remove this rubric, I would just click the little Remove Rubric icon. That'll take the rubric out of there. This middle button, View Rubric, if I click this, it will open up the rubric, but it won't let me do anything to it. So it lets me view the rubric just to make sure that I'm adding the right rubric here. This next button is Edit Rubric. So if I wanted to edit the rubric at this point, I could open up the rubric and I could make changes here, and I could save my changes. But what I want to point out right here is once you, or anytime a student submits the assignment to this digital assignment tool, Anytime the assignment has been submitted and you have it in your grade center, you are not going to be able to go back and edit that rubric at all. So any editing you want to do, you need to do it before students start submitting assignments to this to this digital tool. Okay. We are going to look at Show Rubric to Students. If you scroll over this little menu here, I'm going to click Yes with Rubric Score. So what that means is when the student opens his or her assignment, they will be able to click a button that says Rubric, and it will show them the grading rubric that you're using for this assignment. If I select After Grading, students will not be able to look at the rubric until they can get into the Grade Center and look at the grade you posted there. So the rubric is not available, but they will be able to see it after grading. And then the third option, No, means that they will not be able to see the rubric at all. So those are the properties for the rubric. As we scroll down a little bit more, availability. Now remember, we're working with the assignment tool, so this box needs to be checked in order for students to access the digital assignment. Number of attempts allows students to submit a paper multiple times if you choose to give them that option. The option right now is set to allow single attempt. I'm going to leave it at that, but just keep in mind that you can allow unlimited attempts, or you can decide that you want to give them a certain number of attempts. So you would just click this button here, type in the number of attempts, 3, and just know that every one of those attempts, if they submit a paper 3 times, every one of those attempts will show up in your grade center. But for right now, we are just going to do allow single attempt. And I am not going to I'm not going to limit the availability. If I don't do anything right here, this tool will remain open throughout the semester. If I decide I do want to limit availability, I would click this little checkbox, and then from the calendar, I would decide when I want to make it available, and then when I want to make it unavailable. So display after would be the start date, display until will be the end date. Remember, if you use that, you have to have these boxes checked in order for that option to turn off and on. Like I said, I am not going to use that for this demonstration, so I'm going to uncheck those boxes. The due date option shows up if the student is using a learning module that includes the due date. It will give them the date and the time that this assignment's due. This will not turn the assignment off after the due date. It just sends the student a reminder that the assignment is due. And we are going to keep this right now. For the recipients, we'll go out to all students, and all students individually. This option also allows students, if you have your students working in groups, it gives them that option where you can set this up as a group assignment. Okay, once you have your options selected, you go ahead and submit that. And now here is the digital assignment that I just created in Blackboard. Now let me jump into the Grade Center quickly. And the Grade Center, you'll find that under the control panel. We're going to go into Full Grade Center. And when your Grade Center loads up, you will see the student roster along with columns, grade columns. Here is the column I created right here. This is the HRM manual assignment sample. If you remember, that's what I labeled it. Right now it's showing that there is no student activity in this column. If you jump down a little ways under the first column, you'll see some green exclamation marks. That means that students submitted papers here and it needs your attention. And if you look up here where 16 is entered, this is an assignment that's already been graded. So this is the score, student score needs attention, and over here in our new column that we created, nothing has happened at this time. So I am going to jump in now under a student account and show you what that looks like when a student submits a paper, and then we'll come back to this Grade Center and I will show you how you can grade the paper that the student has submitted.